All right, so the screams for Kenny. Boy, you all turned on him so quickly. I hear you out there. I read the comments. You thought the Big Biscuit wasn't getting the job done. It was actually Matt Canada's fault. He didn't use Trubisky the right way. The Big Biscuit, man. Now you scream for Kenny Pickett, and now you've turned on him after a few games. His little hands, he doesn't know what he's doing. Shame on you guys, you Yunzers that are fair weather fans, for turning on Pickett and even the Big Biscuit so quickly. Mike, you played in the league. You were a rookie going in for the Lions or Eagles?
The Lions.
The Lions. What's the rookie year look like?
Well, first, let me talk about it wasn't the quarterback's fault at the start of the year. And the big mistake they made was listening to the fans for the cheers, because you literally put the rookie through the gauntlet, okay, with those teams. You know,
called guillotine.
Buffalo.
It wasn't a gauntlet, it was a guillotine in Philly.
It was just too much, okay? So
what's he doing every week? What's going on in this kid's? He's been given the keys to an NFL legacy dynasty. What's going on in Kenny Pickett's head right now?
He's trying to make things happen. And there's too much firepower they're going up against. Like the Buffalo Bills.
So, Mike, look, they went up against two of the league's best so far, and they got shellacked.
Three.
Buffalo Bills.
Snuck one on Tampa. They snuck one on Tampa.
Yeah, well, Tom's hurt.
You know, we have Brady. You know, he's got a lot of distractions.
Little Tommy's heart's broken.
But the Eagles, I mean, it's just too much firepower. So,
what happened?
And
they got crushed
as a rookie. And this is one thing. It might have taken me 3 or 4 or 5 years. It might have taken me. I might have learned it after I was out of the league. When you're losing, and as a competitor, and that's probably one of his best qualities, is he's a competitor. He's a fighter. He's gonna take off and run. He's gonna fight for those extra yards. He's not afraid to sling it downfield. The problem is, you can't get caught up trying to play catch up to some of these high power teams. Right. You know, I mean, Pickett, you know, his last name is becoming his nickname, Pickett. He's throwing a lot of picks. And that's because he's trying to play catch up. He's trying to make too much happen. And it took a while.
Do you like his release?
I like his game, but here's the thing. Someone needs to sit him down and be like, listen, just because we're losing, or just because it's 3rd and long, just check it down. It's okay to punt. You don't need to force it. You don't need to make all these big plays. Because the rookie quarterbacks that have been successful in this league did not try to make big plays. They were game managers, and then they developed. Tom Brady, his first year, not his second year, because he didn't start his first year. His first year playing as a starter behind Bledsoe, he was a game manager. They relied on the run game, they relied on play action pass, and they relied on that defense. Okay, the defense is not great. The O-line is not great, but Pickett just needs to learn to check it down, throw the ball away. Don't force it. And he's trying to make things happen. That would be the biggest thing I would try to tell him to learn early. Listen, and this is something that Ben has done over the years. Like, Ben made plays, but then also Ben knew, I'm going to throw it away, or I'm going to take the sack, or I'm going to run out of bounds, and I'm going to kind of keep my stats good instead of trying to force one in there.
Learn behavior.
Just don't give the defense, you know, it's okay. Punt, push them back, make them go the whole distance of the field as opposed to half the field.
Well, you got a problem with your punter. He kicks 20 yards. But anyway.
And you know what? You still might. You still probably are going to lose those games.
Right.
Okay? But he's got to learn not to force things and turn it over. I love his competitiveness. That's his biggest. That's one of his biggest positives, but that's also probably one of his biggest negatives, because that was something I had to learn. You're competitive and you're like, screw this. I want to try and win this game. I want to try and push the ball down. I want to try and make something happen. And in the NFL, it's hard to make something happen when you don't have the pieces there.
There's an old analogy, and if you know it, you know it. There's 2 bulls on top of the hill, and the young bull says, if you know the rest of that statement, I think it's very applicable to the Kenny Pickett situation. I think he's a good, solid quarterback. I think he's a smart quarterback. I think he has skills. The problem being, though, segue, Your offensive coordinator is throwing this kid to the hounds. Not only should you be screaming, and we're going to get into it later in the segment, not only should you be screaming for the head of Matt Canada, but you also should be screaming for the head of the offensive line coach to be gone.
Well, the number one thing they got to do, though, is he is getting his reps, okay? His experience
and his bruises, and his bruises, his concussions.
That's what he needs to learn right now. Is he needs to learn how to stay healthy. Don't take off and run. Listen, you're the future right now. So make this year. Take the easy completions. If it's not there, throw it away or check it down.
Yep.
Don't take off and run and take the necessary hits. Slide, whatever you can. Get as much experience this season, because you're not going to the playoffs. Get as much experience as you can this season and stay healthy, so next season you guys have an opportunity to compete again.
I would rather see him take 20 grounding penalties, boom, into the turf, than to take the beating he took at the Pigeons, the Philly Pigeons, last weekend. I called it. Don't mean to be egotistical, but I said he was going to get sacked 6 to 8 times. Those first 3 sacks on him were brutal, Mike. If I took a ball bat right now and whacked you across the chest, that's what those first 2 sacks had to have felt like to him.
It's not as bad as it was.
Here, stand there. I'm going to run over here and tackle you.
You're going to get penalized, because 20 years ago it was a lot different. 20 years, hey, I'll take those hits compared to what we had to deal with 20 years ago.
Yeah, well, Turkey Jones putting Terry Bradshaw.
No, I'm talking when I played 20 years ago. Right now, it's all about fantasy football.
Right.
Fantasy football points. You got Moss. Throw it up. Throw it down the field. Let's get the offense going. Look at A.J. Brown, Moss, and our Stil'rs.
Oh, my God. Let's talk about A.J. Brown.
20 years ago.
What a
20 years ago, the segment was, and you don't see it anymore, and the NFL will not play those highlights, but he got jacked up.
Right, yeah, he got jacked up. He got lit up.
They won't play those highlights anymore.
That's when football was fun. So, look, the young quarterback is trying to learn, well, everything that goes into being on a national spotlight, thrust into you're the Messiah and Savior of this football team. Now some of you Yunzers are turning on him. But also, and more significantly, let's do the big segue now. His offensive coordinator is doing him no favors. Now, Mike and I differ on this. I absolutely believe it's not going to happen. We're in our bye week. It would happen Monday morning. Matt Canada should be fired. This offense should be simplified. By who, I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. Who are you gonna promote to take that job right now?
Well, considering the history of Todd Haley, Randy Fichtner, Matt Canada right now, I do not trust that Mike Tomlin would make the best decision.
But you have to promote in-house.
So that's the quarterback coach.
So who's the guy?
That's the quarterback coach working with Trubisky, working with Kenny. He knows this offense of unit right now. He knows the players. Maybe he comes in and says, we're going to build 10 to 15 core plays. This is what we're working with. And maybe all of a sudden this offense that I told you Aaron Rodgers would take starts putting up more than 3 points a game. I don't know.
What do you think?
I don't know. I just know this is not good for the psyche of the team.
What do you think of maybe...
or the health of the team.
I saw a recent clip of former quarterback Ben Roethlisberger. If he was offense coordinator right now.
Yeah.
And he said he would go deep on first down, second down, and third down, and don't care about the results, but just go deep and force the defense to back
It's
up.
better than 8-yard outs all the time. Yeah, to answer your hypothetical question, yeah, because Ben came out this week on a podcast. I don't know if you heard it, Mike, or you did either, Steelers Nation. And Ben said, yeah, when we were in the no huddle situation, I called the plays. We all knew he was at times.
Well, Ben was calling the plays
until Todd Haley.
When the plays weren't being called the plays because there was some play changing in the huddle.
So Todd Haley.
And there's a reason why, and you see that. I think you saw some frustration the past week or so when Kenny came out and said the receivers aren't where they're supposed to be as well. All
right, I'm taking your bait. For $20, yeah, go hire Ben Roethlisberger right now to be your offensive coordinator. Who knows? Look, you know this as well as I do. Because you've played the game,
Ben's going to teach him to pump and run, and Kenny doesn't have the hands to pump fake.
You're talking
small.
Ben's ego.
They're too small to pump
You're
fake.
talking Ben's
His
ego.
hands are too small to pump fake.
Stop it. You're talking about Ben's ego. Maybe Ben Roethlisberger's football acumen, his ability to coach, is even better than being a player. You don't know that. Mike knows this as well as I do. Just because you played the game, especially at the level you guys played at in the NFL, does not mean you're going to be a good football coach. There's certain attributes to being a great coach. Vince Lombardi's name is on the trophy, so maybe you start with him as being the paramount of attributes you want in a head football coach. So, Mike, they're not going to fire Matt Canada. You've got to get through the rest of this season right now. What do you do with this offense? I mean, if Mike Tomlin walks into that room right now and says, listen, Canada, and shuts the door, you suck, you're going to get me fired, this is what I want from you.
Are you trying to win, or are you trying to set the team up for the future?
I'm tired of losing.
Because here's the thing.
I want to win now with what we have.
Then you have to run the ball.
I already told you Aaron Rodgers would take these skill players to the NFC Championship
Well, then
game.
they're going to have to run the ball.
So win now.
Run the ball at least 25 times a game. And my thing is do you put Najee Harris through that, or do you bring in someone, or bring in those other guys, pound it? At least not put Harris through it. Put someone else in there and have them both pound it. Run it 25 times a game. Heavy play action pass. Feed Freiermuth and Pickens.
Right.
Get some rub routes. There's no more pick plays. They used to run some pick plays on those, third and mediums when they're getting man.
You know, George Pickens is a big body.
Yes, he is.
You get Pickens here, you get Deontay Johnson underneath him, or Jalen Warren out of the backfield somehow.
Well, you can get, Freiermuth and Pickens spread out, push up, and then in comes on a little bit of an in route, a knife route underneath. Deontay Johnson behind him, picking up easy first downs that way.
How about Freiermuth on a deep shallow and Warren across on a...
What's a deep shallow? I've never heard of a deep shallow.
I could teach you so much, Mike. The deep shallow, that's the 9 to 13 yard part.
That would be a cross route.
The deep shallow.
Or the over.
The deep shallow!
No.
Jeez, talking to an NFL quarterback and you can't even use the wrong terminology. Again, I'm gonna go back to the beginning of this segment. I truly believe if Aaron Rodgers and the Packers had our skill position players right now and Matt LaFleur, he would be able to do something very special with them. Right now, Matt Canada is a cancer to this offense. You see it, I see it, he sees it, every pro football player that ever played the game sees it. Why are they not firing Matt Canada? I don't know. All right, that's the status of affairs for Kenny Pickett, your offense. Up next, the New Orleans Saints, and another L is going to come your way.